Hey everyone, it's St. Patrick's Day 2015, and this is what I drink. No, I don't have a gig. I used to play in a band called Patio Furniture, and the shtick of it was that we were the tallest Irish Cajun punk funk band, and we were. I mean, it was a joke. It's still going. They're probably playing today, but I really got tired of it and quit. That'd be the only reason why I'd go out would be if I had to play. Definitely want to stay up the streets today. Omaha is a big drinking town, but happy St. Patrick's Day. I do have Irish blood in me on my dad's side, you know, that we actually know it. His grandmother was a white Irish woman, so I am partially Irish. Want to review the new Steven Wilson album. I broke down and bought it, but I want to let you also know that I did a count. You know, I've been talking about my albums. Murphy is my most recent vinyl release, and I did a count. I only have 55 copies left. You know, as a result of a Kickstarter fundraiser, I was able to release this last November of 2014. 250 copies, numbered. I've sold almost 200 of them. I only have about 55 copies left. So what I'm saying is, you know, grab it while you can. Like my other albums, Dereck 2 and 3, those are sold out, and folks, they're popping up on eBay and stuff now, and different record collectors are. Some people are selling theirs, you know. I'm just letting you know if you would like this, and it's well worth it. You know, it's going to be gone. Only 55 copies left. The link is below. Order yours today. With that in mind, last weekend I got some orders. You know, people don't buy records every day. If I could if I could sell records every day, I wouldn't talk about money the way I do. I've had some meetings recently, and so some things are coming together regarding me keeping a roof over my head. But I had some sales, and there's an album that I really wanted and just felt like I couldn't afford. And I went ahead and took one of the sales and just said, screw it, I want this album. You know, this artist, I like the way he works, I like what he does. And so I went out and I got the new Steven Wilson, Hand Cannot Erase. Right off the bat, the first thing I want to talk about is the album cover. That to me is just the colors, the textures, the way that paint is working with that woman's face, the color and the texture of the paint on the photograph. The hint at the colors, it's the colors. This is brilliant to my eye, and caught my attention right away when I first saw the image. I was just saying, damn, Steve's done it again. I'm happy to report, and I'm going to turn this down because this is Craftwerk. I'll probably get a copyright notice on it. I'll talk about that in a second. But Steven Wilson is a hard worker, and he's a music collector, and so his aesthetic really appeals to me. He's into a wide variety of music, particularly progressive rock, and so that is always in his music, those progressive rock moves and just the general, like I say, where he's coming from, as opposed to being a hip-hop artist or a smooth rock artist or whatever. You know, he's a progressive artist, and to my ears, he is improving. I've heard from just a few folks who think this album is kind of weak. Most people love it and think it's brilliant. And I'm going to tell you what I think, because I form my opinions regardless of what other people say. Wasn't always that way. It took me a long time to realize, even when a person who knows a lot about music gives his opinion, I still get to like what I like. And that's all that matters to me. And I think this album is wonderful. It's based on a story that he read about a woman who died, and she wasn't discovered dead for years. And it's not that she was a nobody. Now this album, I understand, is not about her, but it was inspired by that. The idea of someone moving to a big city and just getting lost and forgotten. And also from a woman's perspective. Now, since I'm not a woman, I can't say whether or not he was successful at that. But I'll say this. I think he was at least partially successful, because for someone like me, who I know the story is important, but as a non-lyric focused person who listens to the entire picture of the music, I do find myself, I have listened to this already so many times that I've caught, wind of the story and what's going on. And it does work. It's a concept album. I love that he does that a lot. He'll have an idea and the whole album will be focused on it. And so the songs work great in that sense. The title song, Hand Cannot Erase, could be a pop single. It could be a single in a perfect world. The other songs that stand out to me right away, musically and atmosphere-wise, are Routine, and the other one I got to mention right away is Ancestral. That's where he gives you the big, heavy riff. Steve is a fan of Genesis, King Crimson, Rush, that whole ilk, and it comes through, particularly on Ancestral. You hear the King Crimson-y Rush lick. There's always at least one on every album. He likes to come up with good riffs, and he comes up with them. It's so good I had to learn it. That's another mark of how music affects me, is if I like it so much I want to try to learn it. And Steven Wilson does that to me. I love this album. I love this. Again, if I had the money, I'd get I would get the deluxe edition with all of the fake stuff, the passports and the news clippings. But this has a nice book with it too, and the artwork is great. He chooses well. He's still working with Lassie Hoyle, but the other artists that he brings on board, he makes great choices. The imagery does fit. I'll use the word grand. There's a grand melancholy to this album. I think the way that I would interpret that is that, life is big. Even the smallest person that has no celebrity or seeming significance, each life is huge and big, and the word panorama comes to mind. Each person's life, even the person that dies a bum on the street, unknown, the vast gravity of the importance of his life to him, if to no one else, is huge. And that sense is captured on this album to me. This little life wasn't so little. This person meant something, not just to someone, but they just meant something. I think Steven Wilson just keeps going from strength to strength. This is the kind of record that I like. I'm glad people are making records like this. So I give it a big, big, big thumbs up. Now, I may be stretching it, but I couldn't help but notice my album came out before his, but there's a similarity in the face. And his is obviously much better than mine, of course. But, this came out before Hand Cannot Erase, but there's a similarity with the way I've got trying to paint colors across that facial image. I just noticed that. Just a slight. Am I trying to say that me and Steven Wilson are bros? Yeah, in a way, I thought it was cool. I noticed it, Before I go, I'll show you some other records that I've been playing, not a big pile. In the background, I had to turn it down because of the copyright police, but my original copy of Craftwerk 2, which I think is still stunning, groundbreaking. It doesn't sound anything like the Craftwerk that they're famous for. And they disowned the first two albums, which, from my point of view, is too bad, you know, because they won't release them. These originals are hard to find, and they've been bootlegged a few times, so I'm really glad I have an original. Kling Klang is the piece of music I'm listening to, and it's just the way that it was way ahead of the times. That's what I'll have to say about this Craftwerk album, when they put it out, way ahead of the times. Ryuichi Sakamoto, been thinking about him because Cosmic Drifter, you're coming up. Cosmic Drifter watches, and we talk a little bit, and he had left me a link to Red Bull Academy where Michael Rother does a talk. Now, I watched several talks. Michael Rother's talk was actually the least interesting because I've heard him talk before, and he actually talks in sound bites because his English is not so good. And so it's kind of like, there were many questions that he actually didn't answer. You could tell he didn't quite understand the question. But anyway, that led to the Hosono lecture. That's my dog. And Hiromi Hosono and I are both cancers, and I can relate to his personality in watching him speak and talk about things, you know. He gave a lot of information. Caused me to play some Ryuichi Sakamoto, Thousand Knives of. Sakamoto's first solo album, I believe. And I still think this is great. 1978 still sounds great to me. Thousand Knives. All instrumental. I just love it. Hope that Sakamoto is doing well. He's recovering, hopefully recovering from throat cancer or something like that. I recently got involved in another closed group of collectors online that I was invited into. These Italian guys, it's mainly Italians, and these guys, it's like, oh, so that's where all the cool progressive records from England and America went. The Italians bought them because these guys are showing records I never see, and when you see them for sale, they're $1,000, $1,200, $1,700, and people are buying them. And they invited me into the group, which is a great honor to me. Yes, those things are important to me. Yeah, is it a stroke to the ego? Absolutely, I love it. So the first things I posted in the group was this. I happened actually to be listening to it yesterday, as I am today. And then I chose another record to just show, you know, that I felt was in line with what the group's aesthetic was, and it's this Arti and Mestieri, Giro di Valzer per Domani. And this is some great Italian fusion, Furio Chirico, drummer. I've spoken of this album and shown it before. But sure enough, it's like, yeah, it's like it started a nice babbling conversation about, in particular, the arranging and the drumming. I do feel honored to be accepted worldwide amongst, you know, serious collectors, you know. Not that it matters, but some of you understand what I'm saying. Like when you graduate to the head of the class, or when you get the little pin that says, I've done so-and-so. These little things, to each of us, when they happen, have their own meaning, and I'm just sharing that this little thing has that kind of meaning to me. Illusion of Safety. More violence and geography. You would loosely put this in the genre of industrial music, in that it's a lot about grinding, mixes of sound and voices and atmospheres. A little on the dark side, but really good. Illusion of Safety, really good. Simon from Poland, I think you still watch me. I believe you sent this to me, and I listened to it this weekend. I looked for lyrics in English I couldn't find because I wanted to hear them. Oh, not this one. This one. Neiman Enigmatic. I didn't get the words, but boy, this is a very heavy album. His emotion really comes through his voice. But also beyond that, that picture, if you can see it, him at the organ, looks kind of... This is brilliant. You know, I'm glad I pulled it out. My first impression didn't, you know, I couldn't get it. Hopefully I get to hear the lyrics. I understand it's some Polish poetry put to music, some important poems. But you can tell that the music and the words mean a lot. He sings his heart out, as well as plays his heart out. Neiman enigmatic. This is fantastic. Thank you, Simon. If you happen to see this, thank you so much. The other album I pulled, I'm coming to you, Cosmic Drifter. I see it in the pile next. I haven't played Oscar Peterson in a while because a lot of times the records will be like cocktail music, you know. He's a brilliant pianist, and that was always been the reason to listen to Oscar. But I put aside, you know, the fact that listening to some of his selections can make me think I'm in a lounge and just listen to his playing. I really enjoyed this. Traveling On, Oscar Peterson. One of the greats of the piano. Just a giant like Art Tatum. And then Cosmic Drifter, as we were talking about Michael Rother, and I don't remember if it was this album, but I think this was the album he had first mentioned, Cats and Music, cat music, music for cats, Michael Rother, who was in Noi, and part of the first performance by Craftwerk, although he was actually not ever a member, as he points out. I posted this in the Krautrock group and actually got some beef from someone saying this isn't actually Krautrock, and I thought to myself, I didn't write it, but I'll say it here. Man, why are you holding your ass so fucking tight? It's like, you know, first off, the genre Krautrock was, you know, a slight insult in the first place. Now you're treating it like some sort of gold piece of shit, you know. Michael Rother of Noi, his record is disputed to be posted in a Krautrock group. Are you fucking kidding me? But see, that's an example of the fact that we all think differently, even about something like a musical genre like Krautrock. Even within that group, no one agrees. This is a beautiful album, and the cover really captures the sound. He says it himself that a lot of his music is based on him living by the water, and you can feel it. It's very flowing. And this is too, but it also has an airy quality. Michael Rother, Cats and Music. And that brings me up, which I like. Yeah, so I don't have to have a real long video. Last thing I'll say is, seriously, limited edition of 250 copies of this on green and blue vinyl, 180 gram, numbered. I have 55, I think I have 55 copies left, between 53 and 55 copies left. When it's gone, it's gone. And this is good.